Wow, this is a very interesting evening.
Yes.
I loved it. Mark Salem and a beautiful dinner. And the slideshow is great, and most of all of us here venturing with Rabbi Menachem and Rabbi Sain Adina, establishing a new, already vibrant Jewish community. That's pretty amazing, especially for me. I'm Judith Borowsky. I joined Chabad of Novato a little after Menachem and Adina moved to Novato, which was a year ago, and I met them about 10 months ago. My non-Jewish neighbor came over. He's about 80, full of energy. He knocks on my door, and he gives me a newspaper article about Menachem and Adina, and there was a picture in the article of both of them, and beautiful little Yasi and Hadassah. The little lady, the new baby hadn't been born yet. And he hands it to me and he says, "Judith, now this sounds like a nice guy." So he hands it to me, and it was very sweet. He's very rightist, and he's Republican, and he's conservative, and I love him. And so I put it on my desk, and it was there for a month or two, a long time. And I'm looking at my notes, which I don't like to do, but I don't want to forget some things that are very meaningful to me. One thing led to another, and I ended up meeting Menachem, as many of you have, at Dr. Insomnia's, and for a wonderful introduction to our new Jewish community in Novato. And not only was it amazing for me in Novato, I've been here a long time, to have a rabbi ask me for coffee, but a Hasidic rabbi, which was amazing, and on Grant Avenue in Novato, California. And what was so wonderful, he explained what he and Adina were doing, how they came to Novato, how he went to every business on Grant Avenue and introduced himself, the barber, and everywhere. And when I walked into Dr. Insomnia, he was talking to a woman cop with her gun and everything, and here's with his tzitzit out. It was a wonderful image for me. I just couldn't believe the whole thing for me. I came from a very unobservant, assimilated home in San Jose, California. Very ethical, good parents, but not observant. So this has been amazing for me. In less than a year, I have felt more a part of a Jewish community than I ever have in my life. I've made so many friends through so many activities. I was just going to jot a few down, which have been mentioned by Menachem and mentioned in the slideshow, but I just was going to jot them down and share them to to remind all of us how many things we have to do and how many things Menachem and Adina have done in 1 year. It's amazing. So I went to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, 4 Shabbat dinners, a hike, Torah classes. I mean, just to show you the variety. A class on the Book of Esther, Purim party with my grandchildren, an outdoor public Hanukkah lighting. It was so beautiful. It was real dark, and we all had candles. It was absolutely beautiful. In Novato, 300 people, and I helped hand out the candles, and it was awesome. I mean, And then I went to Shavuot services, and I'm embarrassed to say I honestly didn't know what Shavuot was until this year, and I'm confessing that because we're all friends and we can say whatever we want to each other. And I know now it's the celebration of the giving of the Torah and our loyalty to God. I went to a beautiful evening of flower arranging for Shavuot, and the flowers were amazing. Adina got this amazing florist, bright, beautiful young gal to come and not only bring amazing flowers. I remember your gorgeous arrangement, gal with the long blonde hair. And mine was nice too. So it not only was it beautiful with flowers, and we learned a lot, but I realized in like 10 months, I knew 1/3 of the women there, and I feel comfortable with them. And there's something about this group, this Chabad group of Novato, that's just warm, and we get to know each other quite quickly and feel connected. I went to the Holocaust Remembrance Day with an excellent visiting speaker, Lag BaOmer picnic in Pioneer Park with pony rides, relay races, arts and crafts, And the most amazing, when the big sign in Novato saying, what did it say? The Jewish Festival of Jewish Unity. I almost cried. And one more confession, I didn't know what Lag BaOmer was either. But I'm studying, and it's never too late. And it's the commemoration of the passing of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, author of the Zohar, I learned. And we're supposed to have a lot of fun. He wanted us to be joyful when he passed on. And we celebrate the esoteric soul of the Torah. And we did. It was a lot of fun. And then one of the best things I've done is I went to a dinner at a hotel in Novato with Mark Salem and a slideshow. And that was the last thing I did in this year. And it's been wonderful tonight. I counted 20 things for me, coming from San Jose with very little training. I went to Sunday school, but I learned very little. I have been studying the past 10, 15 years Judaism, but I have been part of a Jewish community more than I ever have in my life because of what Adina and Menachem have brought to this city. Okay, I don't want to take too long, but let's see what else I wanted to tell you. Oh, when you go to the JewishNovato.com website, there's a tagline right under where it says Chabad of Novato, and it says, the Center for Jewish Life and Learning. And I just wanted to say that I have been given a rich Jewish life and much, much learning from both Menachem and Adina. A few nights ago, I was asking Menachem and Adina some questions about giving. I learned the word Natan, N-A-T-A-N, Natan, which probably half of you here know what it means, which is a palindrome. I just learned that word. It's a word that is pronounced and read the same way, forward and backward. And so Natan means give, and when we give, we get back. And I thought that was a very important concept, a simple but powerful one. I learned something that Rabbi Yosef Yitzhak Schneerson, the sixth rabbi of the 7 Chabad Lubavitch rabbis, said about giving. He went to a wealthy man to ask for help for a widow who was in dire need of money. Her children were about to be taken away from her. She couldn't afford clothes, food, schooling. And he told the man, if you give to help this woman, you will get twice as much back. And that's a lot what I'm learning in Chabad, also in our Jewish community. In addition to building community, a large part of what the Landas do is to reach out to people on every level, whether it's, and Menachem said this too, loved ones who have passed away, with youth, seniors, patients in the hospital. They provide counseling, food, and comfort to those who can't support themselves and are in need of assistance. There is so much charity they do. Menachem is always on call, and he'd never tell anybody this, but I kind of grilled him and probed, and I was with him the other night. You must be on call 24 hours a day, and I kept asking, so he told me a few stories in the past. And one is they were going to go out on their first date. They had been in Novato a long time without being alone. Little Levi was born. How old is he now?
7 months.
7 months, so I don't know, it was a few months ago probably. And they got a babysitter, which is very unusual. And they went on a date to be alone. And went very shortly after they were together, probably enjoying themselves very much, the phone rings, his cell. And Menachem answers the cell, and almost as soon as they got there, and the story goes on, and it's not too much longer. It was a call from the Novato Community Hospital. A Jewish man had passed away, and his family wanted a rabbi there. Their date was, of course, cut short. They looked at each other and knew what they really wanted to do. And Menachem went to the hospital to be with, I suppose, the man that had passed away and his family, because he went right away. And another example of showing how he's on call 24 hours a day and does so much for everybody, and things that all of us will need someday in one way or the other. A Jewish woman who had moved with her daughter from Louisiana to Petaluma was terminally ill, and she lived with her daughter, and she wanted a rabbi and wanted to be buried in the Jewish tradition. So Menachem made several trips to visit this woman in Petaluma, and he made friends with her. They became friends. He went several times, and I'm sure he made her feel so wonderful. And he arranged her burial and made sure she had a proper Jewish burial. And another thing that they did, a young man from LA wanted to be bar mitzvahed in Novato because his grandma and his great-grandma lived here, and I guess he was most close to them. So, again, Menachem and Adina were right there, gave him a beautiful bar mitzvah. I wasn't there, but Menachem said it was amazing.
I was there.
You were there? It was beautiful, huh? I'm moved by all these stories. I mean, this is what goes on, and most of us don't know a lot of the work that they do all the time. So the bar mitzvah was amazing, and food. Adina is so good with food. And the fourth thing I wanted to tell you that I was involved in because of Menachem was a woman who was at the Novato Community Hospital and lost her husband and had no friends or family in Novato. And Menachem was right there to do Shiva with her, to have her over their home, because he couldn't get in to sit Shiva because her landlord wasn't accepting it. He was a little, I don't know, for some reason he didn't want it. So he made sure she wasn't alone and that she had food. And then he said, Judith, why don't you might want to give her a call. And I thought, okay. And I must tell you, calling her and doing that mitzvah brought such richness, like Rabbi Schneerson said, when I gave, I got twice as much back. I met a very bright woman. I learned all sorts of things about her. She cried a lot in front of me, which is really important, I think, for people to be able to cry when they're grieving. And because of Menachem, I had this blessing, and I had her for lunch, and I had all this great food in the house, which I often don't, but no, I had good food, but it was special. It was really special food, and it was a very beautiful experience. And I helped her get garbage out, because there was some garbage problem, and anyway, and I'm emailing her, and it's just a wonderful feeling. So things like this are happening all the time in our Novato Jewish community. In the Talmud, there is a very basic law that says that at the time of collecting crops, the owner of the field must leave a corner of the field untouched for poor people to collect their crops. The owner of the field should stay away from the poor collecting so that they are not uncomfortable. And we learn that the highest form of charity is when the giver does not know who is receiving and the taker does not know who gave. Menachem and Adina so often do this kind of work, and I said this already, most of us will need this kind of help one or more times in our lives, to be there for each other, to use the rabbi and the Rebbe to help us. My father always said, if you want a synagogue, you have to pay for it. And he never went to the synagogue. He sent his daughters, my sister and I, to Sunday school, but he always paid his membership every year of his life till he died. He wanted it there for others. I have been blessed not only to be able to support financially the group, not as much as I'd like to, but I do as much as I can, but also to be blessed to learn and grow from it. For me, Menachem and Adina coming to Novato with their family is a miracle. Having a Jewish community in Novato has brought the true meaning of the word teshuvah to me. Teshuvah, did I say it right? Teshuvah? I love that word. To return. And for me it means to return to God, to return to me, myself, to return to my people, and to return to all people in the world, and to do tikkun olam with all of us. And I just wanted to share my deep feelings and gratitude for what we have now.